Hello guys, welcome back to the Hunter Base Podcast. What do Maverick Hunters do when they're not hunting Mavericks? They come back to the base, recharge, and shoot the shit. I'm your host with the most, Zeromaster, and my guest, who is the best, Vegeta3986. How you doing?
Yay, I'm the best at something apparently. What am I best at?
I don't know. It's just a thing I'm going to start doing. Because when CJ's on, I say he's the co-host who's the most verbose because he's went to school.
Okay.
He was like an English teacher.
I'll take being the best at something. I don't care what it is.
But, how you doing, Brandon? How you doing, my friend?
I am doing well. It's very hot outside because it's always hot here.
It's really windy and cool where I am right now. It's actually, I feel like it's starting to become pre-autumn, aka pumpkin spice weather. So,
well, I mean, if you mean pumpkin spice weather is like 85 degrees Fahrenheit, then yeah.
Well, I mean, here in Canada it is. You're in LA, so
right.
It's complete opposite spectrums in terms of weather.
Yeah, because you're in the north and I'm by Mexico almost.
Exactly. So anyways, guys, today's episode of the podcast is we're going to be talking about Crunchyroll and the anime industry. And we both have different perspectives. I'm more up to date, I guess, on anime than you are.
Yeah, you probably are.
But you also have a unique perspective because of where it is. If you guys saw the last podcast I had Brendan on, you could tell that he has a very unique taste, as do I, when it comes to anime. And the reason I want to talk about this is there's been a lot of stuff going on in not just the last couple of weeks with the whole Crunchyroll thing that's been happening, which I'll get into in a second, but just the last few months in the whole like anime YouTube community and the anime community in general. So if you don't know what's going on, first and foremost, let me just tell you what's going on with the whole Crunchyroll thing. So Crunchyroll has been announcing some things. One of the things is they announced that they're making their own show. And it's called, I'm trying to remember what was the name of it here. I think I'd be a little more prepared for this, but I've got it in my history. Just give me a second to load it up.
I just keep seeing advertisements for shows that look terrible.
We'll get to that. There's a whole thing I know that you that you want to talk about with that, but they're making their own show and they've got their own production company now. We'll get into that a little bit. I'm not going to get into the more controversial stuff, but the show they're making is called High Guardian Spice, and it's just that like this series that they're making to kind of have their first chance at making their own show instead of just licensing stuff. So for those of you who don't know what Crunchyroll does, and I'll just be really brief with this, Crunchyroll originally was a site where you could stream anime illegally. As that became more and more apparent that it's illegal, they moved over to a platform of licensing shows to be subbed in English for our consumption. So they went from being originally the pirate ship themselves to becoming basically a platform that people can easily access anime without having to go to less than legally dubious means. And for the most part, there's been other services like Funimation has their own service now, Funimation Now, some animes on Netflix, there's Anime Strike, there's a whole lot of things out there that are now taking up anime. But we're at a point now in the industry where last time you and I spoke, we talked about that we're getting that we asked the question, has anime gone too far? And I think the question now is, here we are, like, what's next? Kind of thing, like, how are we going to handle this? Because, just to recap what we spoke about last time, our whole thing was there's too many shows too fast. Like, we're getting too much that no possible person can watch everything. Even when you pick and choose, well, even that's kind of hard to do now. Like, I think there's like something like 50 shows a season. And that is including sequels and spin-offs and stuff like that, but like 50 shows, something like crazy like that a season, that's a lot of anime. And especially now that we have so many platforms for it, like Crunchyroll, Funimation, yada, 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 now it's all split up in different sections. And it's not all the best. So what I wanted to get into first about this whole thing is where we are now versus where we were last year. So first and foremost, Amazon's anime streaming is gone. They got rid of it. It was a stupid idea. You already had to pay Amazon Prime to get it and pay another fee on top of it, which was stupid. So not only are you paying for Amazon Prime, you're paying for another service to watch anime, which they don't do with any of their other shows. So they got rid of that, and I think their anime is now just available on Prime, which is a step in the right direction, because if you've already got people who don't want to pay, they're definitely not going to want to pay double. Which would be ridiculous. I know that, like, I don't know if you use any of these services, so I guess I should ask for your opinion. Do you use any of the anime streaming services?
The only one I have right now is I have Netflix. That's about it.
Netflix, yeah. So, yeah, but when it comes to stuff, I mean, the only new anime that I feel like you've watched is when I've watched My Hero Academia with you.
Yeah, because you kind of are like, hold me up by the thumbs to watch that show.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you show me some shows and I show you some shows. See, we started watching anime together. He'd pick some shows, I'd pick some shows, and that's kind of one.
Of course, all my shows are from like the mid 2000s.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's kind of how we've done our viewing recently. But yeah, that's just to give a background of what that is. So you don't really stream stuff too often, unless it's on Netflix, which is, you already have Netflix for other stuff, I assume, too, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be on the side of the people who are listening that really don't have any streaming sites or don't watch anime streaming religiously. I'm going to be on the newbie side of that.
Yeah. For me, I have Crunchyroll, Netflix, and Funimation now. I mean, first off, I like that there's a easy way and an affordable way that I can support the anime industry. Because as somebody who reviews games and reviews other types of media, my thought is I have to try my best to consume a legal means of it. And with anime, for a long time we had nothing. It was, you get fan subs, or even in the 80s, you get a bootleg VHS that may or may not be subtitled.
Well, back in the early 2000s, the DVDs they sold, they did not know how to market that or sell it. So, like, what they would do is they'd have a show like Inuyasha, where they'd sell you, like, 3 episodes for, like, $25, and you're like, bro.
And they can get away with that in Japan, and they do. They sell DVDs with 2 episodes on them. But that doesn't fly so much
in America,
here.
that doesn't fly. We sell season sets. We don't do that 3-episode crap anymore.
Exactly. And it's only within the last 10 years, I'd say, that they've smartened up and say, okay, here's a box set of something.
Exactly, yeah.
And Funimation actually has been a big player in that, because they were, I think, they were one of the first.
Don't they have the save series, like the save versions?
Yeah, they have the save versions too, where you can get like an entire
those are
series
really
for
helpful,
$20,
actually.
Which is insane.
When I want to watch something like Canon, like a show that isn't really like a super long or super popular show like Canon, where it's like 26 episodes for Funimation.
Yeah, I like that.
But then again, that's an sub only. It's one of those shows I only watch in sub because the dub is not.
And let me just preface this too, like anime, buying a whole series on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever for anime is not super affordable. I think you're looking at like the average for like a 26 to 52 episode anime, you're looking at like the $65 range.
It depends. Depends what series you're looking at, because if you're looking at a less popular series, like I bought Amagami SS for like $25, but that's because it's not popular.
Mm-hmm. But also on top of that, the Funimation would do stupid things like, here's part 1 and part 2, and then like a year later, here's the entire series for the same price we charge you for one part of it.
Funimation kind of has this weird thing where they're really popular shows, they make like 7 different versions. Like, how many versions of Cowboy Bebop can you possibly release?
Exactly. And I always hated that. So whenever I saw a Funimation DVD of a show I wanted, I'm like, I'll just wait. If it says part 1 of, excuse me, if it says part 1 of season 1, I'm just going to wait till you have a full season box set. I'm not going to buy it again. Like, that's what, specifically for My Hero Academia, I wanted it on DVD or Blu-ray. but I'm like, I'm not buying part 1 of season 1. If you can't put all 13 episodes in one box set, I'm not spending that money. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, seriously. Like, those are for the people that are super, like, need it, like, immediately.
Exactly.
And I'm not one of those people.
Exactly. But I still think it's a shitty practice. And it seems like they're doing it a lot less these days. Especially now that streaming is a big thing. And the thing that I like about streaming is a Crunchyroll subscription is $6. And you get access to a whole lot of anime. A lot of it subbed, available the date and time it's available on Japanese TV. Like 10 years ago, I could never anticipate that. Wait, you have it not only available but in my language the minute it airs in Japan? That's insane. And Funimation does simudubs. Like, we were talking My Hero Academia, they'll have a dubbed episode of that out the day the Japanese episode airs out in Japan. Like, literally to the hour. That's insane. Like, that we live in a world where you can get a show that's dubbed literally when the Japanese version comes out. It's just hilarious. And they only get the episodes 2 weeks in advance, so they have 2 weeks to do a full production.
I'm not saying I'm a huge fan of that, honestly.
I mean, it does cause some stuff to seem rushed, but at the same time, from what I've seen, it hasn't been that poor production quality. It's literally been the same.
It isn't so much poor production quality, it's the fact that I like the idea of watching a show in sub, then having to wait a couple months, and then seeing the differences in the dub. I'm kind of a fan of comparing.
I guess, but like, to be fair, like, I watched the first 2 seasons of My Hero subbed, and then I watched them dubbed later on. It wasn't like I did it right away. It's only with this current season. Yeah, but when you have a simul dub, you kind of remove a lot of people's choice or desire to do that. The other thing too is after the first half of this season, Funimation slowed down the simudubs. So it's not really simudubs yet anymore. It's like they're 2 episodes behind. So I think it's just because they were simudubbing so many shows. Like, they had that, and then they had My Hero Academia, and then I think like Darling in the Franxx had a simudub. Like, there's a whole bunch of shows that had simudubs, and I'm like, how can they possibly get this done? And I think that's what they were like, just burned out. So they were just like, okay, halfway through the My Hero Academia season, we're just gonna take a break, and we're gonna be a few episodes behind, which is fine. It's not necessary, but I just think it's insane that that's something that's available now. Like, 20 years ago, you never would have even thought about that. That wouldn't have been an option. So it's just crazy to me. But so that's kind of where we are now. Like, in anime and like a streaming platforms, all of them are fairly affordable. Like I said, Crunchyroll's like $6. I think Funimation's like, if I remember, I think it's like 7 or 10. I can't remember. And Netflix is Netflix, so whatever Netflix costs in your country, I think it's like 12 here in Canada.
Yeah, something like that, like
something
12,
like
15
that.
Or somewhere on there.
So things are very available now. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is this, and this is something that's really going with the whole AnyTubers thing, and you're not really in this whole thing, so I'm going to give you a breakdown and also give our viewers a breakdown of this. So there seems to be this thing that people are saying the streaming bit companies are not doing a good enough job, which I would agree. They're not doing a good enough job of making this stuff available. So several AnyTubers, I'm not going to name names, have said, so instead of supporting the industry, you should pirate. Which I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I'll get into my reasons why, and then I'll let you give your opinion as well on this. First off, there was one guy who did a video comparing how easy it is to access something on Crunchyroll compared to Kiss Anime. And he's like, they're literally the same, but one's free and one's not. I gotta stop there because I think that's very misleading. First off, Kiss Anime is littered with ads to the point where you want to pause, pop-up ad. You want to play, pop-up ad. You want to move across the timeline, pop-up ad. Like, they're so full of ads, and you can't use ad block because their site is programmed to say, you can't watch free anime unless you give us money for ads. So you can't do that. So it's basically one of those things where you can't do anything on their website without getting a pop-up first, which is, I guess, some people would say a small price to pay for getting it for free. But the comparison is that Crunchyroll's using Flash on their player. You can't easily scroll in it, which is true. Stuff is not, has a lot of translation errors, which sometimes fan subs don't. Fan subs also do have translations errors because they've got to get these translations out so quickly. And stuff like the mobile versions are not as good, and I'll address all that stuff. But the thing, I don't think the answer is telling people to pirate. Because just because they're not doing as good of a job to live up to your expectations doesn't mean, well, we should go to the piracy route because they're doing a better job. That just seems stupid to me. Like, it's just like, and I see where people are coming from. Like, Netflix is the worst because they'll add stuff and remove stuff all the time. Stuff that was on there before, they'll take it away. And that's just how licensing works. There's nothing that they can really do about that. But again, I don't think the answer is piracy. What do you think about that?
Well, I think the biggest problem when it comes to these legitimate pay sites, with the exception of Netflix, things like Crunchyroll or Hulu, it's like, oh, pay us money. Oh, but you're still going to get commercials in the middle of your stuff. You're going to have commercials regardless. But
well, see, here's the thing about
the pleasure of watching it. I'm like, well, that's what TV is. Why are you putting commercials in the middle of my extra paid thing?
Here's the thing, like, though.
Netflix doesn't do that.
Yeah, and Crunchyroll doesn't do it either.
They were doing it last time we were watching My Hero Academia.
Yeah, but I was not watching on the paid version of Crunchyroll. I signed into my account so I could watch it at the same time as you. That's what I'm saying. So, we'll get into that, how stupid their the free version of Crunchyroll is here in a second. But the complaint seems to be that it's just as easy to get anime on Kiss Anime for free than it is to pay for it, and I'm just like, no, there's a lot more going into it there. You know, I'd love to be able to use something like Kiss Anime and with ad block on, because personally, they shouldn't be making money off of this. Like, they're one.
In my opinion, well, I think on the matter is what they should do is, as I think a lot of these streaming sites, the problem is a lot of people don't like. They're not gonna binge watch. Most people aren't gonna binge watch 50 shows. Mm-hmm. Most people are going to like me look for a specific. What I do is I look for a specific show. So, for example, let's say I want to watch I'm only interested in watching Attack on Titan Junior High. Okay. I only want to watch that show, nothing else, just the parody show. The end. I'm not gonna go. Well, I'm gonna get the subscription to this channel to watch this one show. And I think that's a lot of people. That's a problem people have. Isn't it? A lot of people aren't like you, where they sample stuff. They'll want to see a show and that's it. And if they do want to sample it, they want to see one episode for free, see if they want it.
And see, Crunchyroll does that though. Some stuff is locked behind a paywall no matter what. But for example, you're not going to get the latest episodes of shows unless you're subscribed.
Hulu is notorious for that. Hulu's like, oh, you want to watch the first episode to see if you like it? Not too bad. You can't do that.
Some shows do require premium Crunchyroll, no matter what. But I used Crunchyroll for, I think, 2-3 years before I ever subscribed to it, just to watch free stuff. And a lot of stuff is stuff that's new or newish. If you want to watch the latest episode of One Piece, that's not happening unless you have a subscription. But if you want to watch the last episode or the ones before that, I'm pretty sure those ones are available for free.
Well, then aren't most people going to want to watch the latest episode? So the question is, that's the problem.
I know, but that's
where you face your problem.
But that's the whole thing. It's just yes. So Kiss Anime will have the latest episode because it's fan subbed, whatever, it'll be up there. But acting like it's easier to get that is wrong, because their website
I'm thinking that yes, you should definitely do it legally, but there should be offered a secondary method of if you want to see just a specific show, you can pay X amount for just that show, and you get all the episodes of the show.
But I mean, it's already only $6 a month. I still don't see why that's why that's too
expensive. It's because some people get daunted because they say to themselves, well, I want to watch this one show, and then when I'm done, I'm done. I don't want to have to subscribe and then worry about unsubscribing later and worrying about if they charge me again. I don't want to deal with that. I just want to see the one show.
Well, I mean, that's what iTunes and DVDs and Blu-rays are for, to buy the one show. There's a way to do it.
That's the reason why a lot of people don't want to worry about subscribing. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But I mean, so fair. You would have a more valid point if we were talking about this was a $15 service, but it's not $15. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like, it's not that expensive. The only time I would see there'd be a problem is if you're underage, you don't have a credit card, and your parents won't, get you a subscription. Then okay, you don't have another choice. But what I'm saying is like, I don't think it's cool that people still pirate anime unless they have at least one of the subscriptions from one of the services. Like, if you pirate anime and you don't subscribe to Netflix, Crunchyroll, Funimation, any of those other subscription services, you're not doing the industry any help. And even if a show's not available on Crunchyroll because they're all owned by different licensors and yada yada yada, and piracy is your only option, then fine. That's not a big deal to me. Problem I have is that people saying we should not support the streaming sites until they get better, so let's just pirate anime instead. What you're saying,
no, that's a silly opinion to have. That one doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
And the problem with that is if people start, the people who are making these claims are people who have influence. Like, I think Digibro said it best recently with a response video he made to Anime News Network, I think it was, is that anime YouTubers have more influence now than news websites ever did. And these are anime YouTubers who are telling people to do this. They're saying, go cancel your Crunchyroll subscription and start pirating anime again because that's the only way they're going to learn. And it's like, no, if everybody unsubscribes from Crunchyroll or Netflix or whatever, these businesses will go under, and then we won't have anime that avail access to anime that way. And streaming sites, illegal streaming sites are not going to be around forever. There's going to be, I'm kind of surprised Kiss Anime is still around, considering how popular it is.
The problem is that a lot of people who have this kind of stuff, like, especially when it comes to like big companies that don't like they don't listen to people kind of have this feeling of like kind of like they're powerless. They say, well, I can just keep giving them my money, but then that isn't going to help anything. Like, I don't really watch a whole lot of stuff on like Kiss Anime or whatever. I don't really stream a whole lot of stuff anyway like that. But I would say like a lot of people, I guess they feel just like, oh man, well, if I'm just giving money, I'm giving more, I'm just helping, I'm making the problem worse. So I guess they kind of feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Yeah. I think their logic is like, well, if I stop paying, then maybe they'll go, uh-oh, we're losing money. Let's listen to the people. I think that's what they're going for. I can see what they're saying. It's not right the way they're doing it, but that at least I can see the logic behind it.
And people are saying it that way. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm completely misinterpreting some videos like Digibros or anybody else's who's in the anime YouTubing sphere who's making these videos. What I'm saying is that they're not being clear enough with it. So some people are going to take that as, okay, I'm going to cancel my Netflix subscription and just pirate anime for the rest of time because I don't need to support the industry. That
isn't right. But no, I see the logic that a lot of people are trying to make. There's misinterpreting the message. And
let me just say here, I know these services aren't perfect. Crunchyroll's using a Flash player when HTML5's been around for years. In fact, there's a browser extension to fix their player that's not made by them. It's made by a third-party source to fix their player and make it HTML5. One thing people have wanted is a downloadable option. Like, for example, Apple Music or Spotify. I believe Spotify does this too. You can download the music that as long as you still have the subscription. I think a lot of people would prefer to download anime episodes, which Crunchyroll doesn't offer, and I don't think any of them offer. Funimation doesn't offer it either.
That would be an amazing thing. Because then if people don't have internet, they can watch it, whenever. Because you're not always going to have an internet connection.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the other things for me is the apps need to get better. Now, to be fair, Crunchyroll's app has had a recent update that's fixed a lot of bugs that they've had. However, a recent thing that happens, doesn't matter what console I use it on my Wii U, my PS4, PS3, whatever, if I go into their app, it doesn't know that I'm signed in, and it acts like I need to subscribe for a premium membership. So I go start signing in, and then magically as I start typing my email address in, oh, you're signed in. I don't know why it couldn't just figure that out right away. But
I will say this about Crunchyroll. It every time I go on, it would make me laugh and cry at the same time. Is their ad algorithms are fucking terrible.
Yeah,
they're awful.
Yeah, they're okay.
You'll see the same commercial like 7 times.
So
I'm like, oh, I get it. Stop.
I'm glad you mentioned this because that's something when we were watching My Hero Academia that became a problem. So I signed out of my Crunchyroll, because you don't have Crunchyroll, and I wanted to make sure we were synced up. But they showed something like 7 ads in between things.
And it's the same.
It's the same thing
5
over and
shows
over
and over. Like, and the shows they always advertise, like, they're never good. They're always like these terrible. They're trying to advertise like the terrible, awful shows that no one wants to watch. They're like, what was that one that was really terrible? It was like Magic Knights and Shield or some crap like that. What was that called? It was like the Knights and Shield one.
Dude,
was
I
like,
don't
really?
Know. It was
so
dumb.
What?
But like, yeah, so that's not good either. Okay, so let me just tell you, years ago, when I didn't have a Crunchyroll subscription, you'd maybe get 1 or 2 ads. Now it's like something like ridiculous, like 6 or 7. It's like, holy shit. I'm like, that's a lot of ads to try to get people to sign up. So that's bad. But just going back to their streaming for a second.
One of the things that is really actually, I think one of the big things is you discussed this when you first started the conversation back before. There is so much glut that 90% of the shows that are going to be streaming are not going to be very good.
Mm-hmm.
So quality is also concerned too.
Yeah, I know a lot of people.
How many shows can you have with the same guy who doesn't have a personality, who ends up with the girl who has the personality?
Well, see, that's an anime studio problem, not a Crunchyroll problem. But I guess they don't have to.
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying the problem is, I'm saying the glut from Japan, which isn't necessarily Crunchyroll's problem. I'm just saying that's part of the problem in general of anime.
And the other thing too is just going quickly back to their streaming apps. One thing that Netflix and Hulu and a lot of other services have that Crunchyroll and Funimation and these anime-only apps don't have is they don't have a recently watched or up next section. They don't have a recommendation section, which a lot of people I understand don't use, but they don't have a recommendation section. Only when you finish a series does it recommend you another series. Like, and there's no way to check what you've watched. There's no way to, it does tell you when the newest episodes will come out, which is good, I guess. But there's missing key features. Searching on the Crunchyroll app is a pain in the ass. Funimation at least has a what you've been watching section. So at least you can check that. But like Crunchyroll is so far behind on that on their apps. Like, and even on their website. Like that's something that should be implemented. And that's kind of brings us back to this whole thing that's going on. It seems like Crunchyroll is more interested in spending money on it's not like new anime series, but making their own productions. First, they had those podcasty type things, which that's fine. If you want to make like a little like show, like an original show or whatever to add something to the mix, that's fine. But now they're trying to make their own original animation called High Guardian Spice, which I'm not going to get into the whole social justice thing about it. Personally, I think it's great that they have a 50-50 ratio male to female staff.
Hang on a second. High Guardian Spice. What the hell is that?
They're getting a lot of heat because a lot of people are upset that the entire writing staff is composed of women, which has happened before in the anime industry, and I'm not even going to touch that subject.
I'm only going to say it because the animation looks like crap. That's all I'm going to say.
And that's my thing, is that I feel like the reason that I think a lot of people are upset, and me as well, is that this is where they're putting their money. They're putting their money into making their own shows when they should be fixing the things so people can watch their current shows.
Honestly,
that they license.
I don't care who wrote it or what it's about, as long as it's a good story. But this I'm just looking at the concept art, and it looks not very good.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people are saying.
It looks like a bad DeviantArt page.
Like a lot of people are saying it looks bad, and this is what they're spending money on to produce a new show.
No, I agree. I could have sworn this was a DeviantArt page.
And the thing is that I recently found out, because like the first video that I saw that talked about all this stuff is Digibro made a video on Crunchyroll and expressing a lot of these same problems. Like, they don't have an up-to-date video player, finding the anime you want's hard, yada yada yada, all this stuff. There was a response to his video made on Anime News Network, and by a reputable source. I can't remember the fellow's name, but it's somebody that, Digibro respects and, has followed for years, and a lot of us have followed from Anime News Network. And they had insider info on how much Crunchyroll spends per episode to get an anime episode. It's somewhere between the ballpark of $30,000 to about $200,000 per episode. Let me put that in perspective.
Well, I'm sure it also depends on how popular the show is.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Let me put that in perspective. Let's say one of the most popular animes of the current age, as much as neither of us really care for it, Attack on Titan. Its second season was 13 episodes. Imagine because, okay, the first season was really popular, the anime studio knew that the anime was popular and decided to charge them the maximum amount. It would have cost them for just that one season, that second season, almost $2.5 million if they were being charged the maximum rate. That's insane. That's a lot of money. That's like only a drop in a pond when it comes to the budget for these shows. But like that's a lot of money for a company to just license and, you know, promote and put subtitles on and for people's consumption. So it's not like they don't have the money to be doing these things. It just is, my problem is they're focusing it in the wrong place. They're focusing it on things that don't.
Crunchyroll is not the kind of location for, it's not the right medium for brand new shows it's not.
And you know what? If you guys want to do your own shows, that's fine. But don't start making your own shows until you fix the problems for people viewing the current ones. Like that's the whole issue.
Also, maybe hire some halfway decent character designer. I'm sorry, I can't. It's so bad. I'm sorry.
I mean, the thing is, like, people are judging it before it even comes out. And I'm sure, you know, I don't really have any inkling to watch this anyways. I'm not really a fan of magical girl stuff.
It looks like another CalArt style series.
I mean, it's a magical girl show, and there's only a few that I'm interested in, so it's not something I'm probably going to watch anyways.
No, there are some good magical girl shows.
There is, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah. There are some I like, but in general, it's not a genre I seek out. Like, I'm not watching the new season of Precure
exactly,
every
There's only a few that I think are really good.
I'm not watching the new season of Precure every year. Let me just put it that way.
And that was so popular when I was in Japan. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, it's Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon put together. That's basically what Precure is.
Right.
It is. They shoot laser blasts out of their hands and shit. Like it's ridiculous. But the thing that I'm trying to say is that you know, I'm probably not going to watch this. There's probably a lot of people who aren't going to watch this. And on top of that, they're taking, it doesn't look that good already. To be fair, they're only showing concept stuff and it's not coming out till next year. So who knows what it'll end up looking at the end. And people are not happy with how it's being managed. So this is a perfect storm of failure right here. So my thought would be,
no, it's not going to do well at all. It's not. It's just going to, yeah.
But my thought would be that Crunchyroll sees this like, this is not doing so well. Maybe we should cut the budget from this a little bit and maybe fix some of the other things that are broken. Because again, their player is like from 2008. It's terrible. It's in Flash, which nobody uses anymore. You can't scroll in it. Pausing and stopping and skipping episodes, everything about it is trash. To the point where the mobile version looks better, like the version that's on your apps, runs better because it's programmed better than it is in the browser version. It doesn't make sense to me. And we know how much it costs them per episode, and I know some shows are not going to be as much, but still $30,000 is still a lot of money for even a bullshit anime. Like 12 episodes of that, like one season, $30,000 an episode. That's still like almost $400,000 right there. Like that's a lot of money. Yeah. So and that's just one show. And Crunchyroll licenses several shows a season. Just imagine how much money they're spending just to get these shows.
How there's such a glut of the same crap that they're losing money on shows no one wants to watch in the first place because they're stupid and boring.
And let me just do some quick math here. Because I'm not super good at this. Let's say they pay the minimum amount for a show at 12 episodes for a season, $360,000. So let's say they get 10 shows per season. That's $3.5 million per season.
And those are for not so popular shows.
And that's the minimum amount of money they would have to pay per season to get 10 shows. That's a lot of money that is being used to license these shows. And the money they're making from revenue and whatnot, they're now pouring into making new shows which people have already said they don't want. So it just seems like a money sink here. And I can see why people are saying don't support Crunchyroll. At the same time, I can't just pull my subscription because I want to support the shows I do like. And they do know what shows you watch. They have analytics, obviously. So they know what you're watching. So
the key, so really what it boils down to is what you're trying to say is there needs to be a way in which the voices can be heard rather than just boycotting.
Yeah, there needs to be a better way of communication. Communication is something they're not good at. And
I think it's because they're not listening why people are getting mad.
Mm-hmm. And there are people who've made videos saying I canceled my Crunchyroll because of this shit, because they're not, they're tired. I won't be canceling mine anytime soon just because I want to still support the shows that I support.
Well, then in that case, why don't you just support a different streaming service?
Well, I do. But I'm
saying, if you're as you said before, as long as you're supporting one, you're supporting it. So why don't you just drop the one you don't like and keep the ones you do?
Well, I'm still watching other shows on the service, so it's not like I'm going to drop it for one thing.
I gotta say though, when it comes to Zero, that I do see you're kind of sending weird signals here in terms of you're making it sound like support them but hope for the best, which sounds weird.
I know it sounds weird. I know it does.
So what is your answer if you were to say to somebody who doesn't subscribe to one and is mad at Crunchyroll and wants to help change it,
and that's the thing, I don't have an answer. That's what I'm trying to find out. What's the answer?
That's the problem. So you're basically saying don't do that, but there's no alternative. Sorry.
And I'm not happy about that we don't have an alternative.
Yeah. See, I don't really stream. I don't like I said, I don't do kind of legal streaming, but I can really understand what people are saying, and especially when the answer is sorry, too bad. That's kind of I don't know. What do you say?
And that's fine. If there's people listening to this who only pirate anime, I don't care. That's their choice. What I'm saying is don't take the influence of somebody to say, well, they're not doing a good enough job, so don't support any of the industry in that way. That's the thing I don't agree with.
That you shouldn't do. I would say support the ones that are doing it correctly, and they just don't pay money to the people who don't.
Yeah, and that's the whole point that I was trying to say is that yes, I understand that they're not doing a good enough job, and I agree they're not. But to go 100% piracy is just this is not 2002 anymore. You can't do that. Back then you might have had, more avail to say, okay, it's not readily available. I don't have any way to get it. Anime's barely on TV. Okay, fine. You know what? You didn't have an option back then, but now we have an option. And I just think it's ridiculous that people are saying, I don't like the way, they're handling one thing. So I'm just going to pirate it. Because the problem is as much anime costs more now than it ever has. And studios live and die by those kind of things. There are some studios that were major time studios lasted, 30, 40 years that are gone now. Because mostly their own fault. They made some crap, but people were still downloading stuff rather than, buying DVDs or watching it streaming and whatnot. And it's frustrating because anime doesn't have the same, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't have the same
appeal?
Not appeal, but it doesn't have the same privilege or market that, music has gotten, or movies, or TV shows, regular TV shows. So they have much better ways to stream music. You got Apple Music, you got Spotify, regular TV shows are on Hulu, Netflix, whatever. And you can you have easy access to download a lot of this stuff. Whereas anime is not as easy, and Crunchyroll and Funimation, it's better now than it ever was. The fact is it's still not good enough that it's not able to compete with other things. The only nerd culture thing I can think of that's close to that is gaming. Gaming doesn't have a good way of doing it either. You can just buy games. There's no good way to stream games or anything like that. That's in a good way. And I mean stream as in using a PlayStation Now or a Xbox Game Pass or something like that to stream the games over the internet. There's no good way of doing that. So anime is a step ahead in that case. But like that's the fact. Like these kinds of media aren't there yet, and they really should be. And I think I have to agree with people when it's not there yet. But at the same time, I can't just stop supporting something because I don't think it's good enough yet. You know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, I'm a DVD buyer.
I know. I buy DVDs and Blu-rays too. Don't get me wrong. And if that's all people do, I understand that too. You're still supporting the industry. I just want to go back to this thing of the people who only pirate. Like that's their only means, and they're just like, I don't need to support the industry because it'll support itself.
It's almost like if you're gonna try it out, like if you're watching like one episode and you go, that's a pretty cool show. I think I'm gonna buy that. Almost like a trial, like a free sample. And the problem is there are a lot of shows that actually don't make it to like a streaming service. That apparently just have no marquee value, apparently in America, and just never make it, or they're all fan subbed.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of shows from the 2000s that just never made it. They're just like, nope, sorry, you get nothing.
Yeah. Or then there's shows like Fulukuli Seasons 2 and 3. They're getting dubbed first. The Japanese version, they don't get it till like winter.
Those lucky Japanese.
The English version is available now. Because Fulikuli was so popular when it first came out here that it's more popular here than it ever was in Japan.
Those lucky Japanese.
Shut up. Yeah, I get it. You don't like the dubs, whatever.
No, I know. I don't like Fulikuli because it's terrible.
Whatever. We're not here to talk about your opinions on specific shows. We're here to talk about the industry. And
Fine.
I think
it's terrible.
And
what? A bit of a cough. Sorry.
And this actually might be a good segue because something we had talked about last time we talked about this, like over a year ago at this point, is that things are different now than they were back in like 2000s and whatnot, where you would say it was the golden age of anime in terms of what your preferences. What's different now compared to then that we could do now that we did then that might fix things? What do you think?
I think the problem is, especially now, because back in the 2000s, we started just getting into the whole anime tropes. All the anime tropes started to be formed at that point because, yeah, sure, they were there in the 90s, but 2000s were when it started to really come over to America. So I think the problem is now they're still using a lot of the same tropes. And I guess in Japan, they like repetition or stuff like that. But the problem is over here, there's a lot. They throw out a lot of shows, and it's the same formula. Over and over. You can say, wait a minute, this show is the exact copy of this. It's like the same damn thing. And you see patterns and you see the same idea. And we're like, well, give us new ones. Because, like, for example, for us, we like stuff like we're big fans of like just variety. So if you see like, hi, I'm a guy who's gonna go on an adventure and save the girl. 5 minutes later, I'm gonna go on an adventure and save the girl. See, we want like subversions, we want changes. The problem is it's the same crap over and over again. So I think at this point, it's just like, it's almost, you got, like, when you're picking and choosing, you're like, well, every one of these stories is the same. So I think that it isn't really so much the streaming site that's got to fix this. Besides being more picky and choosy of what they license, it's got to be the anime industry as a whole, which actually just has different ideas. Uh-huh. And that's the problem. That's why, for example, Attack on Titan, it's not that great of a show. I know people are going to flame me alive for saying this. I don't think it's that great of a show. I think it's silly and ridiculous. But you know what? It's different. It's completely different than like anything else that's been out. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, I give you props. It's different. Mm-hmm. It's interesting in its variety. And because of that, like it's I think the number 3 anime on my anime list right now. It's like one of the most popular animes. That's the thing, because it's so different. I mean, just have a show that's different. That's all I'm asking. It's always like, oh look, I bet she's going to be the love interest. Oh look, she's the love interest. It's like you can write a checklist of everything's going to happen before the series. Like by the end of episode 1, you're like, okay, he's going to do this, then this, then this. Oh look, he did that. All right, cool. Yeah, that's the problem. It's the same crap over and over again, and I get very tired of it. Which is why I stopped watching a lot of the shows, because I'm like, well, okay. It
makes me also kind of wish that these services wouldn't license all those shows. Like, yes, like I've gotten to the point where I've gotten tired of slice of life. Like, I can't stand slice of life shows anymore. Like, unless there's one that's like really, really like a lot of people are watching or recommending and whatnot, I can't really dive into one.
or like or that there's some kind of twist that makes it different.
Exactly. Like, one of my favorites was Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, which is a comedy about a girl who confesses to a guy in the first episode, but he totally doesn't get it. And the entire series is hilarity ensues. What?
Wasn't that the one you wanted me to watch with
That
you?
is one of the ones I recommended we watch.
Yeah.
And hilarity ensues from there. Like, that's different. Usually, if there's a confession in one of those, like, comedy romance shows, it usually happens mid to the end of the series. And this one, it starts off like that. And that's what I liked about it. So that was one that just sticks out to me that I really liked. I wish more shows would do different things like that. I agree with you there. Like,
yeah, like a good example of a show that was actually from the 2000s that did something totally different was actually called Kaleidostar. And that was actually a really, like, out there show. It was an American girl, it was a Japanese girl, moves to America, joins a circus. And that was the plot. She was in a circus. And, like, I've never seen one like that. Another good example recently where they did that kind of weird stuff was called Amagi Brilliant Park. I found that show good because it was a guy who runs an amusement park. And that kind of stuff you don't see that often anymore. It's usually just like, hi, I'm a magical girl. I find you random hot teen anime guy. Let's totally not be in a relationship angst for the 20 episodes and go save the world. Okay. I really don't want to because this is my personality, but okay.
Even something like My Hero Academia, which is one of the most popular shows right now, does the underdog thing differently. Which it does have a lot of comparisons to other shows in the genre like Naruto, but I like that it wasn't just the same old thing like, oh, he's quirkless, he's going to be quirkless forever kind of thing. No, I've seen that too many times where a guy who has like nothing becomes super overpowered. Naruto, for example. I like that it's a growth that he gets the power and then he has to learn how to control the power because he can't control, he can only use it at 0 to 100. And the series, what's so great about the series is you get to see that character's growth over the seasons that have gone out, and even stuff coming out soon. Like, it's just that, even though that has a lot of tropes and it's still a shonen show, it's different in the way that it's not doing the same thing that every other show did. Like,
right. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I actually will keep watching the show is because it is just different enough that I'm actually intrigued. It isn't the same damn thing over and over. And
I like that it's different from Naruto because Naruto was this guy who's a loser but who's bad at everything, but he's secretly super powerful. Like, that's a thing that, you know, at the time that was fine, but like now you wouldn't be able to get away with it. I like that he is like,
yeah, because there's so many protagonists that are just like it was like the thing to be stupid and super powerful. That was like the thing. You know, it was like, oh, Naruto, stupid, super powerful. Luffy, stupid, super powerful. Goku, stupid, but super powerful. Everyone is stupid, but super powerful.
And the thing about Deku is he's smart. He's really smart. He's good at.
So that's what I like about it. I'm just saying, like, that was the thing back in the 2000s, on like, you know, for shonen shows. But now they don't do that anymore because it's so overdone.
Exactly. Though technically, with Black Clover, that's what I hear they're doing. I haven't watched Black Clover. I just heard I
have not seen Black Clover.
Kind of meh. It's one of those things where people keep telling me the manga's really good, but the anime's not so good.
That seems to be a pretty popular thing.
It's what people are calling one of the new big three are My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and One Piece. Because One Piece will never stop being one of the big three until it's
One Piece
over.
Is never going to die until either he dies or until they find the One Piece.
You know what
which is going to be the journey all along.
You know what I realized the other day, though? Case Closed has more episodes than One Piece.
Well, yeah, because Case Closed will... okay, I don't think there's any people left in Japan because in the Case Closed universe, because they just murdered everybody. I don't think there's anybody left.
Huh.
How many ways can someone get murdered? That's my question. It's like, well, we're at episode number 795. Okay, in this episode, the guy gets stabbed with a jagged CD on top of a mountain. Okay, cool.
You know what? They probably have fucking done that.
They probably have.
But yeah, and it's just, it's like, things like the anime industry is different now than it was back then. But like, some things were better back in the past than they were now. Like, just for example, one thing that you and I have been saying forever, there wasn't as much option. Like, now we have too much choice. And it's, there's no ammo.
Though it's kind of the illusion of choice because so much of it is the same. It's like, well, we have 73 different versions of white bread, 3 of wheat and 2 of oat. Which do you want? So it's like, it seems like there's a lot. There's 79 choices, 70 whatever choices, but there's really only 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was probably one of the most things I've been talking about. This guy Digibro, he's one of the biggest anime YouTubers. He did this video on this show, Asterisk Record or something like that, and he's like, why I know I can skip this, because he did an entire series called Why I Hate the Asterisk War, and he's like, it basically looks the same as the show I said I wasn't going to watch, years ago, and that's true. Like, we're getting a lot of sameness.
The shows repeat themselves. They do. Mm-hmm. Like a great example of repeating was that stupid little angel Dokuro-chan is a almost exact ripoff of DNA Squared. It's like it's almost the same thing. I mean, it's a guy who in the future becomes a mega playboy and has like overpopulates the world. So someone comes back in time to stop them. It's the exact same plot. It's like the only difference is one's lollies, one's not. That's the only difference.
Mm-hmm. And
they repeat themselves after a while. They do, and it's just like you need to. But at least just change one thing. Like, for example, in all the years of anime, they've never done this, and it's driven me insane. They've never had an anime from the point of view of the best friend in a harem show. They've never done one.
Yeah, I
like
can't think
have
of
a show
that.
where it's a normal harem show, but it's the best friend who never gets anything, and it's his story. And that would be like the best show ever.
Yeah,
I would so watch that. It would be called like lonely guy like Haru or something like that.
Story of a lonely guy.
Would you not watch that? I would so watch that.
That's a Blink-182 song.
And it's about his struggle to find love when like the 5 girls all want the one guy.
Did you hear what I said?
No, what'd you say?
That's a Blink-182 song.
Oh.
Story of a lonely guy. But still, like, I see how it is. Like, I would like that. And more stories like, okay, this isn't the best example, but like Shuffle, where he doesn't end up with one of the main girls. He ends up with...
Yes, exactly. You're like, oh, okay, so he's going to pick either best friend from when he was a kid, main Damien girl or main angel girl. Nope, he picks random girl number 3. You're like, random girl number 3. Oh, shit. Because that never happens. Because it's always like, in the opening, you're like, it's her. He's picking her. Yep. Even if it makes no sense whatsoever. Like, I was watching a show called Daira Shokan no Hichijikai, and he picks like this girl, and it made no sense, like, whatsoever. Like, he didn't spend like an episode with her for the past like 7 episodes, and all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, I like you. I'm like, what? You hardly talked to her for 7 episodes. What? Just because she was main character, he had an up with her, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense in the narrative you made whatsoever.
Yeah, it's
like they're either stuck on like this stupid railroad track they can't divert from. They feel.
In another sense, I will say, Crunchyroll putting all this money into making their own show might be good, in a sense that means they'll buy less shows. And maybe they'll buy less crap. They'll think twice about what they buy. But at the same time, I still hope that they're thinking about their user experience. And it seems like that's not happening as much. They spend money on on making their own shows, conventions, making their own conventions, all this stuff. But
I think the problem is they're doing what they can rather than if they should.
Yeah. And that's a very good way of looking at it. And I think, as much good as they've done for the industry, there's just as much bad that they've done. But again, I still don't think piracy is the answer. That's just something I want to get out there, because if everyone switches over to piracy, there will be no anime industry. And we've already lost some of the great studios.
No, but
that survived decades.
Like, the problem is there needs to be a third option between supporting blindly and piracy. There has to be a third option of something.
And I agree. I don't know what that option would be, and there should be one.
That's the problem. So I don't think so much that people are. Obviously, there's gonna be people who are just gonna pirate because they're cheap bastards. But like the people who are doing it to make a statement, there is no third option, which is why I think they're doing it.
Mm-hmm. I still don't think
so.
it's
Yeah,
right,
so yeah,
though.
you can definitely always like wag your finger and go morally like this is wrong. But like it's kind of like well, what's your solution then? I don't have one, but it's still wrong. It's kind of a weird.
But that's the thing. It's not up to me to make the solution. It's not up to us to make the solution. It's up to the industry to find out that solution.
Well, the problem is if people just give them money and they're going to ignore it if they keep getting money. So it is a weird between a rock and a hard place thing for people who do that. So honestly, I would say support the places that are good and you do, like, so say support, Netflix, support Hulu and all that stuff. Just don't go to their website. Don't go to Crunchyroll's website. If you don't like what they're doing, just don't go to their stuff. I mean, support somewhere else who does it. Because I'm sure that other websites have the show. You can go to, Netflix or Hulu and they'll have that show. So just go to them instead.
You know what you should support? Ko-fi.com/Zeromaster. Buy me a coffee.
Oh my god, that plug hurt. That was I got electrocuted from that plug, man. Oof.
You got electrocuted. Don't you get electrocuted from the sockets, not the plugs?
No, I got electrocuted from the plug. That's how bad it was.
Literally,
man. It just came right through the plug.
Oh man, it hurt me a little bit too. I try not to shill as bad as Digibro does, because literally he ends his videos with like, "Oh yeah, give me money." Fuck.
Wow.
That's why I watch his videos, but I'm not subscribed to him or packing him on Patreon, because I'm just like, I like your videos, I like your analytical analysis, but I don't like that you're a fucking whore.
I actually do. I don't subscribe to. I don't do to a lot of people. Like my
well,
Twitter.
I mean, this isn't really something that you're.
I'm following like 8 people on Twitter. All right?
Exactly. This isn't something that you really like follow. I just know about this because so many people were talking about it in the community, and you're kind of disconnected in that way. Whereas, you're still stuck in 2002.
I'm trying to. I fixed up my Twitter. I give myself a crappy header. I'm trying to look at tweets more. I'm trying to do that stuff,
Hey, you retweeted that tweet for me.
I did retweet.
You figured that out.
Yeah. But of course, someone stole my stupid ass name, so now it's Vegeta3986 I because someone dumbass stole my name. And they don't even tweet on it. They took it and then left it alone like a dumbass.
Are you sure it's not you? Because I'm pretty sure you had a Twitter before this one.
No, it wasn't me. It was someone. No, it wasn't. Because it was just an egg with no Twitter follow. Because I remember before I had people on it.
I'm trying to think of what else we can talk about. This might be a short episode of the podcast.
It very well might be. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's fine by me. That's less for me to edit.
I mean, there's so many older shows that I'm still watching. I'm trying to catch up on, like
okay.
Too.
Here's a good question. What's an older show? Because they've been doing this more and more often, especially with stuff like Full Metal Panic, for example. What older show that you think deserves a sequel if they're going to keep making anime sequels?
An older series that deserves a sequel. Those Who Hunt Elves needs to get resolved because that series never got finished. And that they had 2 seasons and they just kept going on their journey. And they never ended it. It just kept going. I was like, where's the ending? I want an ending. And it never got one. I'm
still going to go with a season 3 of Medaka Box. That they ended that show right when the manga gets good. And they introduced one of the coolest character villains of the series at the end of the last season. So they really need to.
I'm gonna say I'm a little evil when it comes to series that I don't really care about or like, and then I hear the ending is terrible, and other people get upset about it, and I'm like, I didn't care about that show.
Oh god, they have to finish Katakega Hitman Reborn. It had 1 arc left of the manga, and they ended the show because Bakugan wanted its time slot in Japan.
Bakugan is the poor man's collectible show.
I know, and it's not even popular anymore. It died after that season, so why the hell didn't they bring back Reborn, god damn it? It's Katakega Hitman Reborn is the one Shonen Jump show that got popular just enough, but not enough to stay for people that they know what it is. You probably have no fucking idea what I'm talking about.
No, what?
Katakega Hitman Reborn.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it though.
You've heard of it, but you probably when you think of Shonen Jump, it's not a show you think of.
No, I no.
Yeah, it's one of those weird shows that was popular enough, but it's so unpopular that people don't even know what it is. Like, it's hard to explain. And they had one arc left. They could have done one more season to finish it off. That will forever be just stuck there. It's funny because they said they were just taking a break, but they never went back to it.
Not an old show, but a series that needs to be like a format they need to use more often. That they really, really do is the omnibus format.
Omnibus?
They need to do more like that. Where it's a good example is Amagami SS. What they do is there's 6 main girls, and they have 4 episodes for each of their arc, and then it'll hard reset to the beginning, and then he'll get one. So basically, it's like you're playing the visual novel, but like it goes through all their routes. So the timeline hard resets after every arc.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a favorite girl, then you can consider their arc canon because they do all the arcs, which is good because 9 times out of 10 you're not going to like main girl. You're just not. You're not. They're not going to be your favorite. But with these kind of shows, another good example, they're doing another show called Seiren, I believe it's called, that did the same thing. Yeah, Seiren, where they're making the same kind of omnibus format. That kind of show they need to make more of. They need to make more freaking omnibus shows. And that's definitely something that they need to do in the anime industry, because I know for a fact I don't like main girl a lot of the time.
What? And you see, that's interesting, because that's one of the things that I like about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is it's a new story about a new member of the bloodline, but it's still all connected to the same thing, except for part 6 when everything gets reset. But that's neither here nor there. It's I like those kind of stories too. I think what I want to see is I want to see more reverse harems, like ones that are actually.
I'm not a girl, so I'm not really a huge fan of reverse harems.
I'm not either, but like, I just think it's not done enough, and I'd like to see a reverse harem that's just good, because a lot of them aren't.
Harems are very, very like touchy either way. Like for me, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of harem shows. It's like there's got to be some kind of twist on it to make it different. Like here's the thing: the main dude half the time sucks ass. It's a rule. Like if you're a harem show, your main dude has to be boring and kind of like a replacement just for the people like self-inserting whatever. They have to be a blank slate of boring. You know, like think about it. Like, how interesting is the guy from Monster Musume? He's not at all. How interesting is Tenchi? Not really interesting at all. You know, how interesting is the guy from Amagami? Not really that interesting. And the same thing with reverse harems. Like a good example, Haruhi is so boring in it or on Host Club. She is so boring. She's like, "Hi, I'm Haruhi. How you doing? Yeah. Oh, there are guys around me. Oh." I'm like, really? You have like no personality.
Oh no, dicks.
What?
Oh no, dicks.
Yeah, she has no personality. That's the problem with harem shows. Is like there are very few harem shows where I can look at the main character that's not one of the main, like one of the either reverse or regular harem. I just like, and you can go, wow, that's one of the few examples of a good character is the guy from Yuichi from Canon. Yuichi from Canon actually has a personality. He's really funny. That's rare though, because even the guy from Shuffle's like, I'm the guy from Shuffle. How's it going? You know, it's just the guy from Happy Lesson. You saw Happy Lesson with me. He's like, hey, I'm the guy from Happy Lesson. You're like, okay, cool. Thanks, bro.
I want more shows like, I keep bringing this one up because we need to watch the second episode, but Animation Runner Kuromi.
Oh, Animation Runner Kuromi. Oh, you're in my heart forever.
And there are shows about the anime industry that have come out recently, which are pretty cool that I want to see.
I hate that stupid show they made about the anime industry. It is so stupid. What was it called?
Wait, which one? You're going to have to be more specific.
Shirobako.
Shirobako?
Fuck Shirobako. Fuck that show. That show is so frustrating and stupid. I hate that show.
Which one was that again?
It's the anime about making anime. And the main character is a whiny little bitch. and I can't stand her. I like some of the side characters are okay, but the main character is so frustrating. It just like it's you want to strangle her. You're like, shut up. Oh no, everyone respects and loves me, and I work in the anime industry and I have a really important job, but I don't know what I want to do in the anime industry. I'm like, oh, let me get out my violin. Hang on a second. Where is it? It's somewhere around here.
Is that the one where... No, that's not the one where the girl who gets a role because she thinks she's a good voice actor, but really they're trying to make the show shitty.
No, that's a different one. No, this is the one where like the manga, there's a part where the manga artist wants to make this depressing ending because he's like, well, this is how I want my story to end. This is the way the story goes. And then like the director like basically like berates him and says, no, it should be a happy ending because of this and this. So change your ending. And he's like, what? And he gets like berated into it. So that pissed me off too. I'm like, what if he just wants a depressing ending? How about a depressing ending? And if he wants it, just give him the depressing ending.
Oh, that's the one that fucking Emma Dance thing is from.
It's like when people get mad about that thing in Fullmetal Alchemist about the dog girl hybrid. And people get mad. I laugh at that.
God damn it!
There's so many memes about that I laugh now when I see that. I'm like, you guys, you killed it. It's done. It's over. It's not that sad now by comparison.
Is it sad that I'm more excited for an anime adaptation of a manga from the 90s than I am about some of the new stuff coming out?
I was very excited when I saw they were doing a reboot of Ushio and Tora a couple years ago, and that was from the 90s. They did a reboot from that show, and then it got really stupid.
They did. Oh, there's another thing. They did a remake of Space Battleship Yamato that I need to see. And that show's from like the 60s, 70s. Jeez, we're going back.
One show I fell in love with actually was Galaxy Angel. That was a good show.
Galaxy Angel?
Galaxy Angel, yeah, that was a good show.
I mean, we could talk about
if you want a good series about all females from like the early 2000s, that's a good show. Galaxy
Angel. We could talk about this all.
Yes, we could
all day long. That's
a series that needs more episodes. Is Galaxy Angel that needs to come back.
The point is, last time we were talking about there being too much choice. Now there's too much choice, and it's not being distributed very well. So,
well, no, it's not too much. It's not too much choice not being distributed well. It's too much of the same thing presented as choice, and it's being glotted out to you. Mm-hmm. So people are getting tired of it.
So I don't know the solution to what people are calling the Crunchyroll problem, but hopefully, the thought is better communication. I can only hope that Crunchyroll is seeing all this backlash that they're getting, and that they're going to be thinking twice about, where they put their resources, and maybe, have a better dialogue with their customers.
Right. So, yeah, I'm definitely more on the side of, support places and give them money, but I was playing devil's advocate on here, trying to give you the reason behind, I think, why people are doing this.
And that's why I wanted you on here, because you don't have a bigger stake in this as, say, somebody like me.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's why I was devil's advocating.
So yeah, so there's a unique perspective you can offer, which is why I want to bring you on. But anyways, guys, I think, we'll just end this one short because there's not really much more we have to say about that. So before we finish, is there anything that you're working on that you want to talk about?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, besides the fact that you and I and CJ need to get our butts in gear, besides that.
Yes, episode 33 is in the, I say, pre-production phase, because we're in the middle of writing ideas. We haven't quite got a script yet, but we've got, an idea of a script.
Right. Yeah, but for thing. Yes, for something.
Yeah.
Something.
For Nacho Bridge, right?
Yes. Yes. We're working on something. Cough, cough.
I didn't know Jeff Goldblum was invited on the podcast.
We're working on something.
Chaos Theory. But yeah, so that's something we're working on. Are you working on anything else that people need to know about?
Not right this second. I think we got some things in the works, but nothing really announceable yet. Gotta get it done first before I can really start announcing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But no, other than that, what do you call it? Yes, that is me in the Twitter now. So it's my Twitter is now Vegeta3986 I. So it's actually me, not some crazy guy pretending to be me.
Yeah, and this time I'll put the right. I'll put the right.
Yes, and the new YouTube channel we can actually now have a real YouTube.
Yes.
Link on it with the actual name on it.
Exactly, and this time I'll put the correct Twitch account of yours. I accidentally put the wrong one last time.
That would do it. That would do it. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll do it right this time. As for me, I have reviews on the way. I'm still in the middle of scripting my Mega Man 8 review. I'm up to how many pages am I up to now? I wrote some more of it today. Because I had some opportunities for writing, and I think I'm up to about. I've got about 2 pages done, maybe 3 pages. I'm on my 3rd page, and I'm still talking about gameplay. So this is going to be a long one for me. And then of course I've got stuff planned for Halloween and Christmas and other stuff that I'm working on as well. This is kind of the crunch time for me, the end of the last quarter of the year. So it's when I really get stuff done.
Right.
So
all right. So in that case, Zero, how about we end off with a recommendation for somebody to watch?
Oh, what somebody should watch?
Yeah.
See, I was good. I can't really recommend My Hero Academia because everybody's watching it. I recommend. You know what? I recommend Pretty Derby.
Say Pretty Derp?
Pretty Derby.
Oh, Pretty Derby. Oh, is that the one with the girls and the horses?
Yes, and they're based on actual racehorses. And you can don't look up information about the actual racehorses because you'll spoil the story for yourself. Because they're trying to follow the racehorses as closely as possible, but they're also horse girls, so it's animated up to shit.
I recommend Canon 2006 is my recommendation. Unfortunately, I would say sub only because the dub isn't very good.
What's a dub you'd recommend?
A dub I would recommend? Ooh, besides anything Lisa Ortiz is in. Oh my God. Why do I love Lisa Ortiz so much? I would say a very good dub. Hang on. Let me anything but by Right Stuff is really good. So like Comic Party or KO Beast, they are good dubs. But Comic Party is an amazing dub. Comic Party is awesome because you got Rachel Lillis, Lisa Ortiz, Liam O'Brien, that guy who I can't remember his name. Oh God, the main dude. What was that guy's name? But yeah, but that's Right Stuff usually is really good dubs. Like His Inner Circumstances was a pretty good dub too, even though the show wasn't that great. So anything by them or anything by Central Park Media is pretty good too, actually.
Yeah, you are talking about them a lot.
Yeah, so those kind of dubs are good. A lot of stuff I watch. Fruits Basket dub is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I need to see that at some point.
You like Fruits Basket dub is so good, like you can't watch it in Japanese because like one of the main characters' voices is terrible, like just awful in Japanese. Like Yuki's is just sounds like a girl, but yeah. But no, Fruits Basket is definitely a dub show.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. All right, and you can follow me guys on my social media. Obviously, my channels are Zeromaster Reviews and Zeromaster LP. I'm on Twitter at Zeromaster. My Facebook page is Zeromaster fan page, and you can find me on Twitch. Zeromaster LP. I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays now at 8:00 Eastern time. Maybe 8. I might be pushing it to 8:30. Because I'm doing a different shift now, so I'm not working nights anymore. I'm working days. Woo! So there we go. So, anyways, I want to thank you again, Brandon, for agreeing to be on the podcast.
Oh, you're welcome. It was fun.
Giving your perspective and being here and being generally a cool dude.
Oh, thank you.
So, anyways, guys, for the Hunter Base Podcast, I am Zeromaster.
Oh, you're seriously me? Okay, and I'm Vegeta3986. I didn't know I was supposed to say it was me. All right.
And with that, we'll see you next time. Take care, comb your hair. In a rush, use a brush. Have a good one.
Boy!